You published an AI-written article and your traffic tanked. So obviously Google penalized you for using AI, right? Actually, probably not. And the difference between those two things is costing a lot of creators real rankings. Today we are going to be breaking down exactly what Google policies actually say, what trigger a real penalty, and how to publish AI content that ranks in 2026. Let's start with a quote that should have ended this debate back in 2023, but somehow didn't. Google said, and I am paraphrasing, using AI to generate content is not against our guidelines. What is against their guidelines is producing content that is low quality, spammy, or created primarily to manipulate search rankings. That distinction for you is everything. Google doesn't have an AI detector automatically running on every single page. They have quality signals, and they have hundreds of them. And those signals do not care whether a machine or a human wrote the first draft. So if that's the case, where did all of the panic come from? Well, a lot of it traces back to the helpful content update, which rolled out in late 2022 and kept evolving through 2023 and 2024. That update was specifically designed to reward content written for people first and to demote content written for search engines first. Sites that got hit were mostly thin affiliate pages, auto-generated product descriptions, and scaled content farms with zero original insight. And a lot of those sites that were penalized used AI to do it. But the AI that they used wasn't the problem. The volume of low effort, zero value content was the problem. You see, here is a real example. One study analyzed over 700,000 articles and found that AI-assisted content actually outperformed fully human content on several engagement metrics when the quality was equivalent. Yes, equivalent quality. That right there is the operative phrase. So if that's the case, what does actually trigger a penalty in 2026? Starting off, number one is thin content. If your article is 400 words trying to answer a question that deserves 1,500, Google knows. Word count alone isn't the metric, but the overall depth is. Number two, keyword stuffing. AI models, if you prompt them badly, will repeat the target keyword in every other sentence. That right there is an old school spam signal, and it still gets flagged today. Number three, no original perspective. Google's quality rater guidelines specifically call out content that just aggregates what's already ranking. That means you need a unique angle, a data point, an experience, something new. Number four, EEAT violations. That stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. If your site has no author bios, no credentials, no links to original sources, and no evidence of a real-world experience, your content is at risk, regardless of how it was written, human or AI. Number five, scaled content abuse. This is one that Google added explicitly in their spam policies in 2024. Publishing hundreds of AI pages a month with no editorial layer is a manual action just waiting to happen. Also, I want to say if you're liking this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Now let's talk about the flip side. What does Google actually reward? Starting off with first-party experience. If you have used a product, visited the location, or ran an experiment, say so. That is the kind of signal that no AI can fabricate, and Google increasingly surfaces it. Second, comprehensive coverage. Not long for the sake of long, but actually answering the follow-up questions a real reader might have. Think about what someone searches next after your article and answer it in the same piece. Original data or research. This could be a small survey, a personal case study, even a unique screenshot that gives Google something to index that exists nowhere else. Next, proper structure and UX. Headers, short paragraphs, internal links, fast load times. Now, that is nothing new, but with AI being in the loop now, it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. And with that being said, this is where I want to be honest with you about the real workflow that works in 2026. Starting off, AI should be handling the draft while you handle the perspective. That's it. That's the model. Use AI to get 80% of the way there fast. Then that's when you layer in your experience, your data, your opinion. Make any edits that you need for your brand voice as well, add citations, and then that final 20% is what separates ranked content from buried content. And with that being said, there is one more thing you need to think about if you are using AI content at scale, and that is how your content reads to other platforms, brands, or partners. Google may not penalize AI content, but some publishers, some ad networks, and some clients do have policies policies against it. So knowing what your content looks like from the outside matters just as much. That's where a tool like Phrasely comes in, and this is one of the use cases that I have myself. You see, Phrasely is an all-in-one AI writing tool that helps you with this process. You can easily draft content inside it, edit, and then check it against the leading AI detectors. And if any text is being AI detected, in one click you can humanize that text and you can see it passes just fine. So it's not about hiding the AI use case from Google, it's about making sure that your content is actually high quality and reads naturally and authentically human for every audience that it reaches. I'll leave a link below to sign up for a free account today because it's one of my favorite tools I use. So let's bring this all together. Does Google penalize AI content in 2026? No. What Google penalizes is low quality content. Now, AI content can absolutely be low quality, and a lot of it is. But the tool itself isn't the problem. The overall execution by the user is. So what you want to focus on is writing for real people, adding original insight, showing off your first-hand experience, making sure to cover the topic completely, always citing your sources, and making sure to structure it well. Do those things and it does not matter how your draft started or if AI helped you. But now let's go deeper on exactly what is getting sites penalized right now. So let's go ahead and cover the top reasons that your site is getting penalized by Google. And I want to say that some of them are definitely going to surprise you because some of them aren't about whether you used AI or not. Did you know 96% of all pages on the internet get zero organic traffic from Google? You heard me right. Zero, not a trickle of traffic. And the scary part is that most of these pages were created by people who thought they were doing everything right. So in 2026, what actually earns you a Google penalty and what do you do about it? Well, in a previous video, we already covered whether Google penalizes AI content, and the short answer is no, not by default. What Google actually penalizes is low quality, and today we're gonna be looking at the specifics about what low quality looks like in theory. And I'm gonna break down 10 causes with real signals and what you need to fix first. Number one that I always have to emphasize is thin content. To expand, thin content is any page that exists on your site without actually providing real value to the user. We are talking about pages with only a few sentences, auto-generated filler, or content that just restates the keyword over and over without answering anything. Google themselves has been explicit about this, going back to the Panda algorithm update, and it only got stricter with the helpful content system as well. A page needs to be able to demonstrate effort, depth, and a genuine attempt to satisfy search intent, or Google will simply not rank it. Number two, keyword stuffing. And I want to reiterate this one because it still catches people off guard because they feel like they're doing the right thing. More keywords should mean more relevance, right? Well, you'd be wrong. When your target phrase appears every 2 sentences in an unnatural way, Google's system flags it as manipulative. And keyword stuffing tanks your readability score, it increases your bounce rate, and it signals to Google that you are optimizing for the algorithm instead of for the reader. Also, I want to say if you're liking this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Number 3, duplicate content. Duplicate content does not just mean copying someone else's article. It also includes republishing the same content on multiple URLs on your own site, boilerplate paragraphs repeated across a dozen of pages, and syndicated content without a canonical tag. Google consolidates duplicate pages and typically only ranks one version, which means the rest of your pages lose authority and visibility. Number 4, cloaking. Cloaking is when you show Google's crawler one version of a page and show your actual visitors a completely different version. Some sites do this intentionally to sneak in rankings for content Google would never approve. But others do it accidentally through JavaScript rendering issues or conditional redirects. Either way, Google treats it as a deliberate violation and it can trigger a manual action, which is the harshest penalty in the playbook. Number 5, buying backlinks. Paid links have been a violation of Google's guidelines since the early 2000s. But the market for them exploded anyway, because for a long time, they worked. But Google's Penguin algorithm changed that. When their systems detect unnatural link patterns, including links from private blog networks, link farms, or sudden spikes in exact match anchor text, they discount those links entirely or apply a penalty. So you probably shouldn't be doing it. Number 6, spammy or auto-generated content. Now I want to note this is different than AI-assisted content, and that distinction matters a lot. Spammy auto-generated content means pages that were clearly produced at mass scale with no editorial oversight, no original insight, and no attempt to serve an actual reader. Think of scraped content, programmatic pages with zero unique value, or articles that are just synonym-swapped versions of other articles. Google's spam policies specifically call this out, and sites that rely on it at scale have been wiped out in core updates. Number 7, hidden text and hidden links. This is a classic black hat tactic that some sites are still using today. Think of white text on a white background, links hidden in punctuation marks, or content set to display none in CSS but still visible to crawlers. Google finds these through its crawlers and through manual reviewers, and when they do, the penalty is severe and immediate. Number 8, poor user experience signals. Google does not just read your content, it watches how users interact with it. If users land on your page and immediately hit the back button, that tells Google that page did not deliver on its promise. So things like a high bounce rate or a slow page speed are all things that feed into the experience signals that Google uses to evaluate whether your content deserves its ranking. Number 9, EEAT violations. If you're unfamiliar, EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google's quality raters use this framework to evaluate pages, especially in YM/YL categories like health, finance, and legal content. So if your content is making claims with no sources, it has no author bylines, no credentials, and no trust signals, Google systems will downrank it even if the writing is technically clean. This is actually why one of the biggest reasons that AI content without any human editorial layer gets caught. Not for the fact that it was AI, but because it stripped out all of the trust signals that EEAT depends on. Number 10, manipulative structured data. Structured data, things like review schema, FAQ schema, and product markup can earn you rich results in search. But if your markup describes content that is not actually on the page, or inflates review scores, or claims features the page doesn't support, Google will remove your rich results and can apply a broader penalty. Google is very clear. Schema should describe what is on the page, not what you wish was on the page. But importantly, here is the pattern you should notice across all of them. Every single one of these penalties comes down from the same core problem: prioritizing the algorithm over the actual reader. When your content is genuinely useful, properly sourced, clearly structured, and honest with both users and crawlers, most of these risks go away automatically. And so this is where a tool like Phrasely becomes really useful. Phrasely helps you produce AI-assisted content that actually passes quality checks. Not that by hiding that it used AI, but making sure that your output is high quality, natural, and built for real readers. For instance, the AI detection tool also lets you see exactly how your content reads to detection systems before it ever hits your site, so you can catch some of those issues before Google does themselves. So now that you know exactly what gets content penalized, the next question most people have is, okay, but I already have AI content that I published myself. How do I fix it without destroying my rankings or losing my keywords? And so that is exactly what our next video is going to cover, so let's get into it. Your AI content is not ranking because it sounds like AI content. Google doesn't have a penalty toggle that says AI equals bad. But what it does have is a very clear picture of what low quality content looks like. And right now, most AI output hits almost every signal on that list. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to humanize AI-written SEO content without tanking your rankings in the process. So we're going to cover what Google's actually penalizing, which humanizing edits helps versus hurt, and how to run a repeatable process that actually scales. Now, I want to be clear with a thing everybody gets wrong. What is Google actually penalizing? If there's one thing for sure, Google has been public about this. It is not targeting AI content. What it is targeting content that is unhelpful, unoriginal, or written for search engines instead of people. The problem is that the default output of most AI writing tools checks all three of those boxes at once. It's generic, it mirrors whatever the top ranking articles are already saying, and it's structured around keywords, not around what the actual reader needs. And so that's the real risk, not the fact that a machine wrote it. So when you go to humanize that content, your job is not just to make it sound less robotic. Your job is to make it genuinely more useful. So here are the 5 things you need to fix in AI content before it's ready to publish. Number 1 is that generic structure. AI tools almost always produce the same exact skeleton. Introduction, 3 to 5 headers, and a conclusion with a call to action. And that structure exists because the model was trained on content that already was ranking. So it's just averaging the top 10 results together to give you its output. So the fix is to lead with your own angle. Ask yourself what this article would look like if a real expert with an opinion wrote it, not just a content generator. Also, I want to say if you're liking this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Number 2, missing firsthand experience. Google's quality rater guidelines put massive weight on something called experience. If you're familiar with the EEAT framework, it's a part of that as well. After all, AI cannot have experience. It has never used your product, visited your location, or made the mistake your reader is trying to avoid or fix. So what you have to do is inject that. And that could be with a real example, a personal result, or a specific number from your own data. Even just one sentence of genuine first-person detail changes how the whole piece reads. Number 3, flat hedging language. Read any raw AI draft and count how many times you see phrases like, "it's important to note," "in conclusion," "it is worth mentioning." Those phrases exist because the model is doing what's known as hedging. You see, it doesn't have any conviction, and readers and quality raters can feel that. So what you want to do is cut out every single one of those. Instead, replace them with direct statements. Now, number 4, no original data or sources. AI content tends to make claims without citations, or worse, it cites things that don't exist. Either way, whichever one, you are exposed. So make sure to swap in real citations from primary trusted sources. Even better, add a statistic or data point that only you have access to and you know is true and can be proved. That right there is different content by definition because no other article can replicate it. Number 5, AI detection signals. Now, even if your content passes a human read, tools like Phrasely can tell you exactly how much of it still reads as machine generated. Using the tool, Phrasely gives you a specific score and highlights the specific sentences that are still being flagged as AI. And in a workflow sense, that is huge because instead of guessing, you know exactly where to focus your edits on. And I want to be clear, it's not about tricking an AI detector. It's about using the detector as a proxy for the same patterns that Google systems are trained to spot. Now, let's talk about the humanizing edits that people think are helping, but it's actually making things worse. The biggest mistake I see is what I call padding the draft. Someone takes a 600-word AI article and it feels a little too short, so they add 3 paragraphs of general background that anybody could find on Wikipedia. Remember, word count is not a quality signal, but usefulness is. Adding low-value content to hit a word count target can actually dilute the topical relevance of the page. The second mistake is over-optimizing after the edit. After humanizing, some people go back through and manually reinsert keywords they think got lost in the rewrite. If your keyword density is suddenly spiking after humanization, that is a red flag. Google has been penalizing keyword stuffing for over a decade. They are not just going to be stopping today. Third mistake, skipping the originality path. Humanizing the tone is not the same as making the content original. If your AI draft just reorganized what 5 other articles are already saying, fixing the voice doesn't solve the underlying problem. You need to have at least one angle, one insight, or one piece of information that is genuinely yours. So here's the process that I recommend, and it's designed to be repeatable at scale. Step 1 is to run the draft through Phrasely before you touch anything. This will give you a baseline score and identify which sections are flagging the highest. So it's actually telling you where the editing time is actually needed. Step 2 is to inject your experience layer. Before you rewrite a single sentence for tone, go through and mark every claim that needs a real example, a real number, or a real attribution. Always make sure to add those in first because that right there is your substance pass. More importantly, that's the part that actually moves the needle when it comes to EEAT. Step 3, do the language edit. Now you want to go ahead and rewrite for your own brand voice and unique voice. That means to cut out the hedging phrases, varying your sentence length, and also adding in a more direct opinion where AI was sitting on the fence and didn't really make one. Step 4, run detection again. After doing all this process, if you're still seeing a section being flagged as high, That section just needs more rewriting, not more specific AI padding. Once you have a good score, move on to step 5. Do your SEO hygiene check. This is where you confirm your title tag, meta description, internal links, and your heading structure. When it comes to the SEO fundamentals, make sure to separate that from the humanization work. Because humanization is about quality and the SEO hygiene is more about the structure. So now with all of that being said, here is the bottom line. AI content can rank because the sites that are winning with AI content right now are not the ones that are publishing the most. They're the ones doing the work to make that output genuinely good and valuable to the reader. That means structure that takes a real angle, experience that only you can provide, language that sounds like a person with conviction, and citations that are actually real. So with all of that now being in place, let's get into the AI content strategy and dive a bit deeper into that part here. We tested 7 AI humanizers on the same piece of content. 6 of them still triggered AI detection after processing, but only 1 passed every major detector, read naturally, and kept its SEO structure intact. You see, the difference is how each tool actually rewrites at the sentence level and how the humanization process works. So today I'm going to be breaking down the best AI humanizers specifically for SEO content teams in 2026. We're going to be covering what separates a real humanizer from a glorified spinner, which tools actually hold up, and why Phrasely is the #1 that most SEO teams are landing on, and my favorite as well. Now, let's start with the actual problem, because most SEO teams are solving the wrong thing. When Google talks about AI content and spam, they are not saying AI content is automatically bad. I really want you to understand what they penalize is low quality, unedited, mass-produced content that exists purely to manipulate rankings. The issue is that most AI writing tools produce content that pattern matches exactly to that description I just gave. Uniform sentence length, predictable transitions, zero first-hand experience. And detectors catch it because those patterns are so consistent. So a humanizer isn't just making text sound warmer. It needs to structurally break those patterns without destroying your keyword placement or readability of the content. That right there is the bar that most tools don't clear when it comes to humanizing SEO content specifically. With that being said, what should you actually look for when choosing an AI humanizer for an SEO team then? Well, I would say in my opinion, there are 5 criteria that matter the most, so let's go through them fast. #1, detection bypass rates. This right here is table stakes, because if your humanized content still flags on originality, GPT-0, or copy leaks, you've accomplished nothing. Any tool that you consider needs documented, repeatable results across all 3 of those platforms, or even more ones, not just one of them. #2, SEO preservation. A humanizer that strips your primary keyword from the first paragraph or breaks your heading hierarchy is actively hurting your rankings while it is helping your detection score. So in that case, you need a tool that understands which elements are load-bearing for SEO and leaves them alone in the process. #3, output readability. Some humanizers produce text that passes detectors because it becomes incoherent. That can be fragmented sentences, weird word choices, or ideas that just don't connect, and that's not a solution that you want to be using. Because at the end of the day, it's something your readers will notice even if the detector doesn't. #4, processing speed and volume. SEO content teams aren't humanizing 1 a week. They are processing dozens a week, if not maybe dozens throughout a few days. So your tool needs to handle batch volume without throttling or degrading the quality. #5, built-in detections so you can verify before publishing. The best workflow is humanize, scan, confirm, and publish, all in one platform. Switching between 3 tools to do that is a time tax that your team shouldn't pay and makes you less effective, so why would you want to do it? Also, I want to say if you're liking this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's look at the tools. I'm ranking them specifically for SEO content teams, not for solo writers or not academics, just for this video about SEO writers. Starting off with Phrasely. Phrasely is the one that most SEO teams are landing on in 2026, and here's why it makes sense, especially for this specific use case. First off, it combines humanization and AI detection inside the same platform in just a click. You paste your content in, humanize it, and immediately it runs a detection scan without leaving the tab. And their detection engine inside checks against multiple models simultaneously. So you're not just passing one detector while failing others. And then for SEO specifically, Phrasely preserves heading structure and keeps the keyword density stable. It's not just randomly rewording every sentence, it's targeting missing the structural patterns that detectors are gonna be flagging. I wanna say with the account structure, there's no per seat pricing that blows up your budget as you scale, which is another huge one when it comes to using software as a team. Next up, undetectable AI. Undetectable AI has strong bypass rates, and it's been around long enough to have a real performance data across detector updates. The limitation for SEO teams is that it's just a standalone humanizer. That means there's no built-in detection, no team features, and no SEO-specific output controls. It's a solid tool for a solo writer, but for an SEO content team running a lot of volume, it's not really gonna be the best. Next up is StealthWriter. I'll give StealthWriter credit. They have a clean interface and a decent bypass performance as well. It also offers a stealth mode that pushes output further from AI patterns. But with that being said, it can also fall short in readability at the higher stealth settings. Basically, the more aggressive it's rewriting, the more the output sounds off to a human reader. And for content for SEO that needs to be genuinely readable and rank, that's a real trade-off you probably don't want to make. Next is Bypass GPT. This is another solid tool that performs well on detection tests. It is fast and it handles longer documents without chunking issues, I will say that. Like Undetectable, it's built more though for an individual than it is for an actual team. There's no shared workspace, no integrated detection, and the output occasionally needs a light editing pass to sound polished, so keep that in mind. Next is Hicks Bypass. Hicks Bypass is part of the larger Hicks AI ecosystem, which is an advantage if your team is already using Hicks Writer for content generation. But going back again to Phrasely I think has a better content generating tool and a pages tool for writing as well. So once again, when it comes to really being under one umbrella, it's really hard for me to stray away from Phrasely as the best one. Now with that being said, let me give you the honest head-to-head breakdown across those 5 criteria that we covered. On detection bypass rate, Phrasely, Undetectable AI, and Bypass GPT are all very strong. I would say StealthWriter is stronger at the lower settings, and Hicks Bypass is pretty competitive as well. But remember, this video is also about SEO. On SEO preservation, I would say that Phrasely is definitely in the lead. On readability, Phrasely and Hicks Bypass are the most consistent. Bypass GPT is close, but StealthWriter drops off at higher settings like I mentioned before. On speed and volume, all 5 handle the standard blog length fine. But I do want to note that Phrasely and Bypass GPT seem to handle longer documents most cleanly. And then on built-in detection, Phrasely is the only tool on this list that handles it natively in its one software. So with that being said, here's the workflow I'd actually recommend for an SEO content team running AI-assisted production in 2026. Step 1, generate your draft in whatever AI writing tool your team uses. Now, if you're gonna be using Phrasely to humanize your content and detect it, you might as well use their content generator in the first place as well. Step 2, no matter which way you're using to generate it, make sure to humanize it then in Phrasely. Step 3 is to then run detection inside of Phrasely immediately after. If you're below a 20% AI score, you are ready for editorial review. Step 4 is a light editorial pass. A human editor reads for accuracy, adds any first-hand experience, and checks the CTA. And then step 5, publish. That's it. And so what you have just done is you compressed all of those steps into just one, specifically with one tool, like I said, if you're using Phrasely. And so if this video helped you, drop a comment below on which humanizer your team is currently using. I want to know what tools you're actually working with out there. And if you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.